Okay, so we are on Gimel Amud Beis. We're on 3b, and we are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lines from the top.
3b. That is the question.
We are so we're about on 3b. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lines from the top. Meisvei. Okay. That's rough. Okay. So basically, we have a following question. We bring from a brisa. Echad be'esh noda b'Shabbos, whether a egg is laid on Shabbos, echad be'esh noda b'Yom Tov, or an egg which is laid on Yom Tov. Ein metalton oisa, we're not allowed to move it. Loy l'chasis b'oisa kli, not use it as a cover for a vessel. Loy l'smech b'kurim hamita, or if you want to use it you want to use the egg to support. Let's say you have a shaky bed, so you want to put it under one leg to stabilize it. However, what you do is it's muksa, so you go ahead and you cover it, so make sure it doesn't break. The sveika asura. What happens if you have eggs which you're not sure? Is it from Shabbos or is it from the day before, or is it from Yom Tov or the day before? So we say it's still going to be forbidden. Yeah.
I just got on the page. Just put it up.
Yeah, the first word on line is asura.
Asura.
Yeah, a little further down.
How far?
I don't know, 10.
I see asura ve'im.
Yeah, very good.
Okay,
This asura ve'im, this arva be'elef kulan asuris. Now, what happens if you have one egg which you know is forbidden because it was laid on Shabbos, and that was mixed up with 1,000 other eggs? They're all going to be forbidden, and we don't utilize the rules of nullification. Okay, so Bishlei Miller Rabba, the Amar Mishum Hachana. Now remember, we had 4 questions. We had 4 ways to answer why is in our Mishnah, why is it forbidden to utilize the egg which was laid on Yom Tiv. So we're going to go through a few of the answers, fit this into the problem. Why is it that this egg is forbidden? It was laid on Shabbos. Why is it forbidden also if it was a suffix, if it's in doubt which egg it is? Why is it forbidden to the point where it's not nullified? So according to Rabbah, now Rabbah's answer was that the reason why I cannot use an egg which is laid on Shabbos is because it was or Yom Tiv, is we're afraid of the scenario we have when we have Shabbos and Sunday is Yom Tiv, and the egg was laid on Yom Tiv. We'll say the preparation for the egg started on Shabbos. You're not allowed to prepare from Shabbos to Yom Tiv. So Bishlam Miller Rabbah, Amram Shemachana, we said the reasons because of preparation. Have a sveika daraisa, that is a suffix daraisa. According to Rabbah, Hachana, preparing from one day from Shabbos to Yom Tiv, is a daraisa. So if I have an egg which is mixed up, if I have a suffix, which one it makes sense because the suffix daraisa is a biblical doubt. And the rule is that a suffix, a doubt, which is mid daraisa, we err on the side of caution, we're stringent. Therefore, if I have an egg which is laid on Yom Tiv and now I'm in doubt if it was laid on Yom Tiv or not, or we're not sure if it's egg A or egg B, we're not allowed to use it. However, to Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yitzchak, one said either one of them they offered 2 different reasons respectively, and one was that it was a gezerah because of fruit that fell from the tree. It was a decree. And another one held that the reason why an egg is forbidden if it was laid on Yom Tov or Shabbos is because it's similar to fruit that was squeezed. Now, both of them, everyone would agree that's not daraisa. Those are just rabbinic decrees. So, according to them, they say mishum the amri mishum gezerah. They hold that the reason is because of a decree mishveka derabanan he because sveka derabanan lakula. It's only a suffix derabanan. It's a doubt which is rabbinic, and a rabbinic doubt we were lenient. So, in the case when I have an egg that's laid on Yom Tov, according to them, it's only forbidden rabbinically. If so, in a case when I'm not sure if this egg was laid out on Shabbos or Yom Tov or not, what's there to talk about? It's a doubt we should be lenient because it's only a rabbinic decree according to them. According to them, the reason egg is laid, the reason was forbidden to utilize an egg which was laid out on, that was laid on Yom Tov is because it's a rabbinic decree, therefore, in a case when we're in doubt, it should work. So what's the answer? So we say, Seifa asa in the suffix treifa. We say no. When we have to break up the brisa, according to them. According to the ones who hold that an egg which is laid on Yom Tov is forbidden, which is only midrabanan, we have to split up the brisa and say that in the beginning we're talking about, the brisa clearly states an egg which is laid on Yom Tov is going to be forbidden. Then we change subjects and we say when it's a suffix, a doubt, or it gets mixed up, then we are going to say that we go to chumrah. We err on the side of caution that there's no nullification, and and when in doubt, we don't say that it's permitted. That's talk about an egg which is laid from a suffix treifa, a bird that was a treifa, it had a hole in its lung, and if it had a hole in its lung, it's forbidden. You're not allowed to eat it. So the egg that comes from it is also forbidden to eat. That's the case of the seifa. That's the case. The second half of the brace is talking about a treifa. So in that case, a treifa, an egg that comes from a chicken that had a hole in it, is a daraisa. It's forbidden mid daraisa. Therefore, in a case that you're in doubt, or a case of it gets mixed up, there's no nullification and there is no doubt. And on the doubt we go l'chumra. We err on the side of caution. We're on Gimel Beis, and we are about pretty much halfway down on ihachi. At the end, the last word on line is ihachi. Now, okay, so that takes care of the doubt. Ihachi ema seifa nis arva be'elef kulan asurais. What about the nullification? That doesn't answer the question. Even if it's biblically forbidden, it's not answering the question of an egg that is laid. Why is it, if it gets mixed up, why is there no nullification going to take place? Because nullification also works on items that are daraisa, items that are forbidden biblically. If you say like this, it's very possible that the reason why nullification is not going to work is because this egg is the egg, even if it's not a suffix, or even if the egg is a doubtful, we're not sure which egg it is, if it's from Yom Tiv or for Shabbos, you just got to wait it out, right? If I have an egg in front of me that was laid on Yom Tiv, it's not forbidden forever. There's a time when it's going to end. At the end of Yom Tiv, when it comes the next day, when it comes to weekday, it will be permitted. Now, there's a rule that there's something called davar sheish matirin. Davar sheish matirin is something which, if I wait it out, it will be permitted at some point. So, so we say that we could understand why. Now we're going to focus on nullification. Why is it that an egg which is laid out on Yom Tiv, or even a suffix egg, an egg which I'm doubtful if this egg was laid on Yom Tiv or not, it gets mixed up into other eggs, there's no nullification. We're not going to say 1 to 2, we're not going to say majority, we're not going to say anything. All the eggs are forbidden till the next day, till after Yom Tiv. Because on that we could say nullification is not going to take place because there's an end in sight. There's a davar sheish matirin, it will be permitted after Yom Tiv, and then there's no point to say nullification. Because why should I nullify everything and say it's permitted if I'm just going to wait it out anyway? We'll just wait till tonight, everything will be fine. So if we say that's the reason why there is no nullification, that's only if it works, if I'm going to tell me that the end of the Brisa was a case of an egg that was laid on Yom Tiv. But we just changed our mind because we were stuck. And we said that the reason is because of a treifa, because it's a daraisa. Now, if it's a daraisa of a treifa, davar she'ein la matirin hu b'spatel b'roiva. That means that it's davar she'ein la matirin. A treifa will never be permitted. A chicken, an egg that's laid from a hen, and the hen has a hole in its heart, that egg will never be permitted ever. So then nullification should take place because it's never going to be permitted. So why is there no nullification? So that's our question right now. Why is it that what is the case of the Mishnah, the Brisa, and if you tell me the case of the Brisa, if you tell me the case of a Brisa is that that it's a case of an egg that's laid out on Yom Tiv, then we have a problem from Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yitzchak, those two people who held that the reason for the Mishnah to say that the reason why an egg is forbidden on Yom Tiv is because of a decree, a rabbinic decree. Then we had a problem that why, in the case of a doubt, why is it forbidden? So then we changed why is it forbidden? We should say it's permitted because we err on because when it comes to the Rabbanans, we're lenient. Then we said because it's a treifa, because it's an egg that had a hole in its heart. Then our question is, why is there no nullification? Just why is there no nullification? It's never going to be permitted. There's an egg that comes from a chicken, a hen with a hole in its heart. It'll never be permitted. Therefore, there's no nullification. So why is there no nullification? That's what we're up to now. If you tell me, beya chashuva v'lei batla, we're going to say no. The reason why an egg is not nullified is because it's chashuv, it's important. It's too important to view each egg as the way nullification sort of works, that we look at this entire entity as one. I have the meat that falls into the cholent, and I can't find the meat. I have no idea what's what. It's one big cholent, and who cares? So it's all nullified. We look at it as one entity. But if each egg is important, then we can't really nullify them, mush them into one single unit. Now, the question is, how do we view things as important? So the idea is usually, do we view it as important as if we count each item by itself? Do we sell eggs by the number, or do we sell eggs by estimation or by weight? Now, things which are counted, sold by the number and not by weight, that's a davar minion. As an item which is counted, and there's no nullification on items that are counted. So on that we say, however, that works on to the one who, and that's going to be the reason why eggs are going to be nullified, because it's important and it's counted. However, there's a machlekes within the idea of this davar minion, this idea that something which is counted, there's no nullification. The question arises, is it something which is only counted by a number, or is it something which is sometimes counted as a number? Meaning an egg, we understand an egg is not necessarily always sold by the number. Sometimes it's sold by weight, and sometimes it's sold by estimation. But there are definitely times we usually, the way we live is it goes by the dozen, right? So they are sold by single units, but not always. So if it's called shadar k'lemeisheninu, that it has to be counted. If it's going to be that it always is sold, if it's that at times it's sold by the number, like an egg, sometimes yes, sometimes no, then it makes sense, and that's why it's not nullified. The reason it's not nullified because it's important, because sometimes it's counted as single units. But the one who holds that it has to be at all times, always, in order for something to fall into the category of counted by the number, and therefore not nullified, it always has to be counted by the number. An egg is not always counted by the number. What are we going to say? And now we're going to bring the machlekes of the case where we see this idea where there is an argument if it's always or if it's sometimes. But now, because we learned, someone that has a bundle of fenugreek, shall kali hakarem. Now, kali hakarem is forbidden. It's when you plant two, or rather, when you have the fenugreek growing near the vines. They're a grapevine, that's forbidden, not allowed to grow together. Yidlaku, we burn them. You have to burn them out, you have to get rid of them. And it's aruba acheres. So now if I have some fenugreek that grew near the vine, and some fenugreek that grew naturally in its right spot, and there's no isser at all. Acheres ba'acheres, kula yidlaku. Whenever they get mixed up, even if those get mixed up and they get mixed up with others, there's no nullification, they all get burned. Divrei Rameir. Rameir holds there's no nullification. That according to the Chachamim, the kali hakarem, if I have something mixed up, which is of something which is a vegetable that grew or a fruit that grew near in the vines, which is forbidden because it's a mixture of two different items, crops. Yeah, that's the right word. It's a mixture of crops, and that's forbidden. So the Rameir holds no nullification. The rabbis say it will be nullified 1 in 200, not 1 in 50, not Rive, not 1 in 2, 1 in 200. Now, Shahai Rameir Omer. Now, what's the reason for Rameir? Why is it that Rameir holds no nullification? He holds S Shadarkai Limleis Mikadish. That he holds that if it's always sold by the number, it'll never be nullified. The rabbi said no. There's only 6 items that fall under the category of something which is sold by the number and therefore not nullified. Rakiva throws in another one. He holds their 7. These are the different items that we consider so important because according to the fact that they're always sold by the number. The nuts of Parach, which is a place. The Kalch Rimani Badan, another pomegranates of another place. The Chvies Stumais, and bears that are sealed, the chlifi trovdin, and beets, the kalche kruv, and cabbage, with lo'isivanis, and Greek gourd. So these 6 items are important, and they'll never be nullified. Due to the importance, you never could view them as a mush, rather they're always single items. Rabbi Kiva Maisif, a kakarish al balabais. Rabbi Kiva adds also the loaves of a not a store, but the loaves of a home. Oh yeah, homemade bread. Now that was arla. Then we say if it's arla, it won't be nullified. Haroy kali karim. Okay, now since we have a machlekes, Rameir holds that it has to be always sold by the number, and the rabbis hold even then it's only down to 7, and Rabbi Kiva 6, and Rabbi Kiva holds 7. Okay, Vitmar, Allah Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Yechanan comes to explain Rameir. Amar he holds estarka limnei sheninu. He holds Rameir holds that always has to fall something fall under the category of that it can't be nullified due to its importance, and always has to be sold by the number. Reb Shimon Mishlakish Amar Kol Shadarka Limnei Sheninu. Reb Shlokish holds no. he's a little more stringent, and his opinion is Rameir held anything which is sometimes sold by the number. That's where we see the machlekes of, is it always sold by the number in order to fall into the category that it can't be nullified, or is even sometimes sold by the number, it's going to be a davar shebeminin and can't be counted. Now, so now, right now, we have to go back to our original question. We have an egg, and the egg got mixed up with 1,000, and it's not nullified. So the question is, why is it not nullified? So, according to Rav Shlakish, we're good. According to Rav Shlakish, since eggs sometimes are sold by the number, at this point we look at each egg as an individual unit, and there's no way to nullify all of them. So he's good. But Gemara continues, El Rabbi Yochanan, my ikala meimar. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, why is it not batal? Rabbi Yochanan is the one that held in Rameir. That kol esdarka, he holds eshadarka limnos. It always, in order for something to fall into the category of a davar shebeminin and therefore never to be nullified, is only if it's always counted by the number. Eggs are not always counted by the number. They're estimated at times. They're sold by the weight. Therefore, why are the eggs not nullified in the Mishnah? That's our question. Okay, now Amar Rav Papa, Hai Tana. So Rav Papa is saying the reason why it's not nullified is as follows. He's going like the following case. He's like the Tana. He's like the sage of the litra ketzios, of the case of the pressed dried figs. It's going to be a little back and forth till we get to the answer. So let's start. Now we have to go into the brisa, another brisa explaining the case. The Amar Kol Davar Shebeminin Afil Midrabanan Leibatel. He holds Kol Davar Shebeminin Dar Leibatel. He holds that we have a case of the pressed dried figs, and in the case of the pressed dried figs, he holds that Kol Davar Shebeminin, even only at times is counted by the number. Still, it's enough never to be mevatel, even derabanan, which is our case, which is derabanan, because our case might not be a treifa. Our case might be an egg, which is laid on Yom Tov. The only reason why it's forbidden is because of a rabbinic decree. Now, v'chol shechem b'daraisa, and for sure b'daraisa, if our case is a treifa, so we would be covered. So if we find someone who holds by every case of a darabanan and every case of a daraisa, if at times the item is sold by number, it won't be nullified. We are good. We found the answer to our problem of why is the egg not nullified. Okay, Ditran, because we have the following case. Litra ketzir shedrasha al pi agol. If I have the case of the pressed figs, which they used to sort of form the round cake, as they used to push it into a barrel or by an opening, and that would force the eggs, the figs to be formed. Then so now what happened was I have pressed figs, and I started pushing them into the barrel, creating these cakes. And then you used to remove them one by one, and then you have a pressed cakes of pressed figs cakes. Now,
a wheel of figs.
What?
A wheel
of figs. That's what it is? Okay, there you go. A wheel of figs. Okay. So now, one of them, I guess, is truma. It's something went wrong, and something got mixed up that's forbidden from these figs. And now, I'm not sure in the barrel which cake it is, or which wheel it is. And now I don't know which barrel it's all together to begin with. I'm totally mixed up. Or, another case, drush al pi koveres, I pushed it onto a basket. Or I didn't even know which basket it was. So the point is, something's forbidden in this room. It might be in one of the barrels. I'm not sure which barrel it is. I'm all mixed up. So Rameir says, and Rameir has two opinions in Rameir. So let's go Rameir number one. Rameir in the name of Rebbe Lazar. So Rameir Amar Rebbe Lazar. Now we turn to the top of 4a, Dalit Amud Aleph. So we look at the top ones. We look at the top ones of the barrel as if they're separate by the opening. And the bottom ones are going to join together and be mevatel the top ones, because I know that the point is that the contents of the barrel will join together to nullify the forbidden figs. Rabbi Yeshua Amer, and Rameir says for Rabbi Yeshua, in Mesham Meya Pumim Yalu, if there are 100 mouths, meaning there are 100 barrel tops, then I'm willing to go ahead and be mevatel all of them. So if I have 100 containers, that means each container has a fig on the very top, on the top part of it. Then I'll say all the top units join together to be mevatel. And if not, it can't be mevatel. Okay, so either we say that all the contents join together to nullify, or we say no, only the top wheel nullify. So if I have 100 top wheels, meaning I have 100 containers, each containing a wheel on the top, then it'll be nullified. That's Rameir. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Lazar says, that if I have 100 tops. I have 100 openings, meaning 100 barrels with figs on the top part of it. Then it will be mevatel. Then we'll say, if I don't have 100, then the top parts are forbidden because there's no nullification, but the contents inside, the ones below it, will be permitted. Now Rabbi Shua holds. So now we're up to Rabbi Huda in the name of Rabbi Shua. Afilu yesh sham shalish meyos pumam lo yalu. Even if I have 300 barrels, there will be no nullification. Now, drasha ba'ogel. Now we also say drasha ba'ogel. What happens if I press it on the mouth? And I don't know which vessel it was. Then everyone agrees that it's going to be permitted. Now, how could we say that everyone will agree? If I press the figs into a barrel and I don't know which barrel I'll be permitted, how can everyone say? We have a statement that says at the end of all this everyone says that it'll be permitted. What do you mean? That was a homachlikis. We had Rabbi Meir saying Rabbi Shua and Rabbi Lazar, and then we had Rabbi Yehuda giving his opinion. That was a homachlikis. How could you say if I pressed my figs into a barrel, now the barrel gets mixed up, I'm not sure which one is forbidden, it'll all be permitted? That is the case. So Amar Papa, Hachikamar, Drasha Ba'agul, if I push it into a vessel, but I don't know, only part of the cake is forbidden. I'm not sure which part of the cake is forbidden. I'm not sure if the northern part or the southern part, everyone agrees that it's going to be permitted. Now, so hold on. So according to this, we're willing to say that according to Rabbi Huda, in Rabbi Shua's opinion, so we found who we're looking for. Rabbi Huda and Rabbi Shua will hold that if I knew if it's north or south, if I knew which one it is, he clearly says that it will never be batel. He holds that items, he holds that no nullification takes place when no nullification is going to take place in these items, because we're talking about we're talking about So according to the last case, we don't know where. We just don't know where the forbidden fruit is placed. But according to this opinion of Rabbi Huda and Rabbi Shua, if I knew where it was originally, at some point there will be no nullification, whether it's Rabbanan, whether it's Daraisa, and that is the man, the Amar of our original mission. So the man of our original mission that said that if one egg gets mixed up in a thousand, they won't be nullified, even if it's the Rabbanan, and the case is only the decree. The reason why the egg is forbidden, either because of the fruit juice or because that if that is like a fruit that falls from the tree. He holds that if it was recognizable at some point, and we knew at one point where the egg was. At one point we know which the egg was. It just got mixed up among the others. So according to this opinion, once something was minikra, once something was recognizable, it will never be batel, and that is the Tana of our Mishnah. So we found a Tana, Rabbi Huda, and the name of Rabbi Shua, who's the Tana of our Mishnah, and we found he is the one who would hold that an egg, once it's recognizable, will never be batel. It will never be batel. It will never be nullified. And that is the answer for that. Okay, now we have another answer. So this was one very long answer and extremely complicated to understand. Now we're up to another answer. Why is it? I'm not even sure. Tell you the truth, I don't have my head wrapped fully around it, but we're going to continue with the final answer. Now we have another answer. We have Rav Ashi. So Rav Ashi is coming to attempt to tell us why is it not nullified, and why is it that in a case of a doubt, the egg is going to be forbidden. So Rav Ashi, we're not talking about a treifa. We're not talking about a hen, that an egg is from a hen, and the hen had a hole in its heart, and therefore it's a daraisa. Rather, we're talking about an egg which was laid out on Yom Tiv, and we're not sure. The suffix was laid out on Yom Tiv, was laid out on the weekday. And however, davar sheish matirin, that is something which eventually will be permitted. However, even according to the rabbis, if you just wait it out, it won't be vatel, and therefore that is the reason that in a case of a suffix, or in a case where it got mixed up, we're not going to permit it. It's not going to be batel, and therefore it's not going to be nullified. That's his opinion. Now Tanya, now we're going to focus. Tanya. Now we we dealt with Rabbi Hillel till here. Now we're going to go focus on Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai is want to hold that the eggs are permitted. It's back in the Mishnah, an egg which is laid out on Yom Tiv. That's the beginning of the Masechta. Beis Shammai the Yom Tiv, an egg which is laid on Yom Tiv. Beis Shammai Oimrim Teichal. Beis Shammai says, go ahead, enjoy and eat it. Now, so Tanya, we learned the following brisa. Achem Oimrim. Others say, Mishum Rabbi Lazar, in the name of Rabbi Lazar, Beitza Teichal Hivi Ima. That Rabbi Lazar held like Beis Shammai. And not only did he say that the egg could be eaten, its mother could also be eaten. Now, this can be a little of a perplexing statement, and we're going to try to figure out what is the case of its mother. Is it an egg? Is it a hen that was set aside to be eaten, or is it a hen which is set aside to just to lay eggs? And why? In either case, and then if it's, and we'll see in a minute what's the problem. The Diskind, what's the case? If it's a chicken that was set aside to eventually to be slaughtered and be eaten, pshita dehivi ima shari. Of course, it's permitted. The egg's not muksa, and he doesn't hold a noilid, and also the hen is also permitted because the hen is set aside to be eaten. So there's nothing wrong. Now the time has come for you to slaughter it on Yom Tov is totally permitted. So must be. So if he's saying the statement, there must be some novel idea. So it must be Ella b'tarnagolis hamedes legado beitzim. It must be we're talking about a chicken which is set aside for to lay eggs. Now, on that we say hivi ma'asura. If that's the case, the egg and its mother is going to be forbidden because it's a chicken set aside to lay eggs and it's really muksa. Because I had no intention on the onset of Yom Tiv to ever slaughter it. Therefore, that's called muksa. Rab Zera teichel agav ima. So Rab Zera gives a funny statement. He says no. The reason why it's permitted is that the egg is permitted according to Beis Shammai because he holds eggs are permitted. There's no problem. So since the egg could be eaten, the mother could also be eaten, even though it's a hen which is set aside to be to lay eggs and therefore would be muksa. But since it's quote unquote its child, its egg could be eaten, the mother could also be eaten. Now, hechinami. Now, what does that work? How does that work? Amar Abaya, stam. The case is like this: that we're not talking about an egg, a hen which was bought, and when you picked up, you said, "I am going to set this aside for the rest of its life in order to lay eggs." It's not the case. You bought a hen, and you threw it into the coop. Then now you don't know what you're going to do with it. You'll see. Whatever. One day I'll make shachta. I don't know what I'm doing with it. Right now I'm just leaving it there. So now nishchata huvrara delachila imedes. And when you grab that chicken and you slaughter it, now we understand that your original intention was to slaughter it, or now we see retroactively what it was used for. When you bought it, I didn't know what I was going to use it for. Now that I slaughtered it, it's retroactive. Lo nishchata, if you don't slaughter it, huvra delegado beitza medes. And at some point, when you don't slaughter it, we understand the reason was that you bought it to lay eggs. Now, so the answer is that what he means by it's the egg and its mother's permitted is that if I take the egg and then I also slaughter the mother, when I slaughter the mother, it's retroactively telling us that the egg is permitted because it came from a hen now that was set aside to be slaughtered. And of course the hen is permitted because by slaughtering I proved what I wanted to do with it. So that's what Rav Zera meant. Now, Ramari Omer Guzma Katani. Ramari gives a different answer. He's saying he doesn't really mean to say, back up when we said, Rabbi Boruch said, Hivi ima, it, its mother's permitted. We didn't really mean to say that its mother's permitted. We're just exaggerating, it's just like saying, we were just trying to bring out the point that the egg is so permitted, even its mother's permitted, even though its mother is not permitted. Just an exaggeration. Tongue-in-cheek is an exaggeration. Now the Tanya we learn, Acherem Oimrim, Mishum Rabbi Lazar, that the others say in the name of Rabbi Lazar, Beya Toichal, Hivi ima, Va'afruach v'klipasai. Elsewhere we have, or maybe in our case, Rabbi Lazar, elsewhere we have another statement. Rabbi Lazar said, the egg is permitted, its mother, its chick, and its shell. The entire egg and its, meaning the egg is the shell, the chick would be the potentially inside, the yolk, and also its mother. Now, Michael Pisayu, what do you mean its shell is permitted? Who eats shells? If you're going to come and tell me that it really means the shell is useless, it's garbage, no one eats the shell. Ella afruach b'chlipasai. Rather, we mean to say the chick in its shell. Now, Adkan like pligi Rabbanan Aleha Rabbi Lazar ben Yaakov. Now, Ella heikla diyotz la'avir ha'oil. Now, the question is, if I find a chick in the shell, is it permitted to eat? Now, the rabbis say that the Yeah, so we have a machlekes. If I find a chick in its shell, what's the halacha? If I find a fully formed chick in the egg when I open it up, what's the halacha on it? So we say the Gemara later on is going to talk about the machlekes, but Rabbi Boruch holds it's going to be forbidden unless it opens its eye. And the rabbis argue on it, but whatever it's the machlekes, what the status of this chick is. So the rabbis. So again, back to the last thin line on Dalam and Aleph. For 8, like pligi Rabbanan Ela the Rabbi Ben Yaakov Ela Hecha the Yatzalav Ra'olam. The whole machlekes only when the chick actually broke through the shell. Aval Hecha lo Yatzalav Ra'olam like pligi, but where the chick did not break through the shell and you open it up and it's there, everyone agrees it's permitted. Now, so Ella Afroyach possibly Guzma. So our problem is, according to Rabbi Lazar, what did he mean? And it's in its shell. So our problem is if it means to say that that the chick in its shell is permitted, but everyone agrees that it's permitted. Again, you're not coming to teach us anything new. There was never a machlekes between the rabbis and Rabbi Lazar in that case. So rather it's an exaggeration. So even here, its mother is an exaggeration. So our original question was, there was a saying in the name of Beis Shammai that that egg is permitted, and even its mother is permitted. Our question is, why is it its mother's permitted? So we had one answer to say that when I slaughter the mother, it proves to us why you bought it originally, and that sort of retroactively makes the chicken permitted. The second answer, just an exaggeration, forget about the term its mother, only the mother's forbidden, because it was set aside to lay eggs, but the eggs is permitted according to Beis Shammai. Okay. Now, we're going to continue in the idea of hachana. Right? One of the answers we gave for why is this egg forbidden is because of hachana. It's a gezerah. It's hachana in the case that Shabbos is, and Yom Tov is a Sunday. We have Yom Tov is a Sunday. Immediately preceding that is Shabbos. If you have an egg that's laid, we say that's being prepared from Shabbos, and therefore it's forbidden on Yom Tov. So Itmar, we have the following. Brisa. Shabbos for Yom Tov. What happens if I have Shabbos immediately after Yom Tov, or Yom Tov then Shabbos? So it doesn't really make a difference. Either Yom Tov is a Sunday or Yom Tov is a Friday. Rav Amar Nolda B'zeh Asur B'zeh. Rav says across the board, if it's born on Friday, which is if Yom Tov is a Friday and it's born and the egg is laid on Friday, it'll be forbidden on. It's going to be forbidden on both days. And if I have Shabbos and then Yom Tov on Sunday, if the egg is laid on either day, it will be forbidden. Rav Yochanan Amar Nolda B'zeh Mutar B'zeh. Rav Yochanan holds no. If it's laid on Shabbos, it'll be permitted on Yom Tov, and if it's laid on Friday, it'll be permitted on Shabbos. Now, Neima Kasavar, Rav Kedushas Achasi, it's a little puzzle. Why does Rav say if an egg is laid out on Friday, it's going to be forbidden even on Shabbos? So on that, we're going to say that the day we view the day as one long day. We view the whole Shabbos and Yom Tov as one kedusha, as one day. Now we said that Rav says the halacha is like those 4 sages. You cannot say that Rav personally holds that Shabbos and Sunday, which is a Yom Tov, or Friday, which is Yom Tov, and Shabbos is one long day, and therefore, if it lays on Friday, Shabbos is part of Friday, because we say it's the Yom Tov and Shabbos is one long day, therefore it will be forbidden. Rav clearly says that usually Shabbos and Yom Tov, when they're right next to each other, are 2 separate days. So therefore, if it's laid on one day, the next day should be permitted. So rather, what's the machlekes Rav and Rabbi Yochanan? They're arguing in the idea of achana derabba, the idea of you're not allowed to prepare from Shabbos to Yom Tov and Yom Tov to Shabbos. Rav islei achana derabba. Rav holds you're not allowed to prepare from one day to the other. So if an egg is laid on Friday, which is Yom Tov, which is a holiday, then that means there was an active preparation for Shabbos. So therefore, it will be forbidden. Rabbi Yochanan holds no. There's no such thing of achana. Now, so that means it gets a little confusing because the achana is coming into two different places. Originally in the Mishnah, we said the reason why the egg, which is laid out, the real reason why an egg laid on Yom Tov is forbidden is because in a scenario that Yom Tov is Sunday, an egg which is laid out on Sunday, that means it was being prepared from the day before, which is Shabbos. Now we're going a little different when we're applying achana. We're saying that if the egg was laid on a Friday, therefore there's also preparation on Friday, right? The egg was being formed to the very second that it got laid. So now in this case, if an egg is laid on Friday, therefore it's going to be forbidden on Friday as a decree in a case when Yom Tov is a Sunday and there's preparation from Shabbos. Okay, that's number one. Even though it's true, right now on Friday, why is the egg forbidden on Friday? There's no preparation. Yesterday was a weekday, so what could be the problem? There's a decree for the scenario when Yom Tov is a Sunday and there will be preparation from Shabbos. So an egg is always forbidden every Yom Tov, no matter what day it falls on. That's number one. Now, if it does get laid on Friday, the reason why it's forbidden on Shabbos is that when it was laid on Friday, there was preparation. It was being formed until the second it got ejected from the hen. So there was preparation also being done on Friday. So if Friday is a Yom Tov, I can't have it on Shabbos. You're not supposed to prepare from Friday to Shabbos. Or if it's laid on Shabbos, there was preparation. There was a formation of the egg on Shabbos. Therefore, I can't use it on Sunday. Okay, now.
So that's assuming that Friday is Yom.
Right. When I say Friday, I meant Yom Tov. So so an egg which is laid on Friday and it's not a holiday, it's not Yom Tov, it's fine. We're talking about Yom Tov, which is a Friday, which is immediately followed by Shabbos. In that case, if an egg is laid out on Friday, which is Yom Tov, it can't be used on Shabbos because we'll say there was preparation be done on Yom Tov for Shabbos. Now, Kitanot. Now this machlokes of Rav. What time is the 25? Yeah.
5 minutes early, right?
Yeah, so it's 30.
5 minutes early.
What time is it?
Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. Kitanot. So we have a machlokes Kitanot. Nolda, this machlokes of Rav and Rechan is machlokes Kitanot. Nolda b'Shabbos, we have a following price. Nolda b'Shabbos, teichel b'Yom Tov. An egg is laid on Shabbos, you can eat it on Yom Tov. And now we're assuming Yom Tov is Sunday, right? So if an egg is laid on Shabbos, I can eat it immediately the next day, which is Yom Tov. Be Yom Tov. If Yom Tov is a Friday, teichel b'Shabbos, I can eat it the next day, which is Shabbos. No, it's still an argument. Bishamai says you can't eat it on Shabbos. So if an egg is laid on now if Yom Tov is a Friday and an egg is laid on Friday, I can eat it on Shabbos. According to Beishamai, there's no achana. Well, and Beisil says I cannot eat because he holds there is achana. So the machlokes Rav and Rechan is machlokes Beishamai Beisil. Okay, now we have bring some stories concerning this. The host of Rav Ada Bar Ahava had some eggs which were laid on Yom Tov, which was a Friday, that had Shabbos immediately afterwards. So he wanted to know, could he eat it? So he came in front of Rav Ada Bar Ahava. He said, why don't you just roast it today? No, he asked him, what could I do? Could I roast it? Now, you can't roast an egg on Shabbos. That's usher. So Friday was Yom Tov, and he had an egg that laid on Yom Tov. If you want to know, can I roast it today and eat it tomorrow? What are you thinking? Rav Rabbi Yochanan. If there's a machlokes, yeah.
First word in the line wrong, please.
V'nichlnuhu l'machar. So halach Rabbi Yochanan, he said that you want to know what the answer is if an egg it was laid on Yom Tov. Could you eat it the next day on Shabbos? The halacha between that's machlokes Rav and Rabbi Yochanan, and the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan. Now we said that Rabbi Yochanan told us that it's permitted, so it should be permitted. Now, however, Rabbi Yochanan only allows you to use the egg without any cooking. You could just use it to drink the raw yolk. But to cook it that day will be forbidden. But we learned and we learned that an egg which is laid on Shabbos or laid on Yom Tov, you cannot do anything to it at all. So you can't cook it today. Because even Rabbi Yochanan holds that an egg which is laid on Friday, which is Yom Tov, the next day is permitted. It's only permitted on Yom Tov itself, it's muksa. So I can't roast it. You can't do anything with it. So what do we mean by permitted the next day? It's permitted you could use it to stabilize a bed, or you could use it to drink tziyot. But you can't cook it on Shabbos, that's forbidden. You can't cook it on Yom Tov because we said an egg which is laid on Yom Tov is muksa the entire day. So when this host came to ask him, what could I do with it? He said, you could use it on Shabbos, you just can't cook it today, because today it's muksa. Another the case. Ushpesina de Rapapa, the host of Rapapa of Amrila who Gavra Oslik made Rapapa. Or they say some random person came to ask Rapapa. The following question. He had an egg which was laid on Shabbos, and the next day Sunday was Yom Tiv. So he came in front of him and Amrale Ma'u Lemachlu. So he asked, it's late on Shabbos, I eat it tomorrow, and tomorrow is Yom Tiv. Amrale Zilla Idna V'Talamach. He said, I don't know, come back tomorrow. Tomorrow Yom Tiv, which is something. The answer is, now, why did he do that? Why could he not answer it today? The Ravle Muki Amra Aluva Miyoima Taba Lechavri Misham Shechurs. Rav did not want to go ahead and use his interpreter. They used to have people who spoke between he used to give out his classes. He used to be an interpreter. They didn't have a speaker system back then, so they had someone saying it very loud. They used to say between Yom Tiv, he didn't use him on Yom Tiv. The next day, because he didn't want to use him because of Yom Tiv. Yom Tiv, there's a lot of drinking. They used to drink wine. That was their main source of drinking. And therefore, because of lightheadedness, and he might get the words wrong. Anyway, Gaslamach, I came back the next day. Amalei returned to the top of Dalit on the base of 4b. Iku hashta ishtaloi. It's a good thing you didn't come to me yesterday, because yesterday I wasn't in my full capacity, and I would have told you the wrong answer. I would have told you the halacha of Rav, if it's Rav versus Rabbi Yechanan, halacha will be like Rabbi Yechanan, who holds its mutter from one day to the other. But Rava says, but I'm wrong, because Rava says that there are 3 times when the halacha is like Rav over Rabbi Yechanan, and this is one of them. It's a good thing I didn't tell you yesterday. So it looks like we have a machlokes really, because we had the previous story was of Acha. He held halacha like Rabbi Yechanan, and now we have what was it? The second one of Papa. We said halacha is like based on Rava. Halacha is like Rav.